Lately I've been low down, losing all control. Henny with the soda, I've been on a roll, life been taking toll. I just wanna roam, I've been running from them bad days, trying to take it slower. Party on occasion, that should ease the weight off my shoulders, yeah. I said we only getting older, yeah. Tell me, are you coming over? I need to know, is you falling through? Tell me what the move is, girl, it's been a cool minute, yeah. I just wanna know, tell me what's the hold up, wanna get to know ya. Girl, I wanna show ya, yeah, that I've got all the things you need from me. I wanna hear you say you still believe in me. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna feel something real. Lately I've been low down, losing all control, I admit it. All this Tennessee hit my limits. This might be all the year, let me finish. I get it, I know you tease me, love me for the leisure, only for the eve. See you searching for the meaning. Hate the way we treat this. Why you in a rush? Know you got no business leaving. Why you always leaving? Know you want that repeat. Yeah, it ain't no way around it. We got a range about us. You got your way about you, not much to say about it. Still have your way around me. They say it's something special. Is it better where we left it? All this inside of my head. Know when you're ready, I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna know. Tell me it's the real thing. I just wanna feel something real.
Yeah, talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a I don't care. Did the by my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, on my totem is nothing. In the discussion, all them feelings I throw on my pain on percussion. It's disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you all my spot at the feast. I've been on go mode, showboat, rowboat, wave ride. Cool shorty, too naughty, pool party, wet for the face ride. Annie up, penny down, hand me down, thrift store, old drip. New money, too funny, old shorty, talking about old.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back.
Can't get a pass
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Now listen, coming up at about 9 a.m. this morning, approximately, we're scheduled to get a phone call from the CFT president, Juile Sellers. There's going to be a public demonstration today, and they're still raising their voices about the plan to reorganize the buses for CPS. Now, there's been some movement in that story. I've read within the last 24 hours that CPS and SORTA have put their heads together. As I told you, they had a big meeting about a week and a half ago, which led to a series of other big meetings. And now they've come up with some plans to try to deal with it and to protect the children and to give as many options as possible. I'll give you all the details. But first, I want to talk about Afghanistan a little bit. This might be a boring topic to some, but this is in my wheelhouse. I put it to you honestly. Take care of home first. Why is that so hard? Take care of home first. If the United States had that mentality of taking care of home first and not meddling in the affairs of other countries, we as Americans would be in a much better place. They spent over $2 trillion just to arrive at the conclusion that everybody who was paying any attention to it knew they were going to arrive at anyway. The British couldn't take over Afghanistan. The Russians couldn't take over Afghanistan. But the arrogance of the United States, thinking that we were going to go there and do what somebody else could not, has led to this moment. And again, if you just do just a cursory review of history, what you'll find is that what's happening in Afghanistan right now has been happening in countries for the last 50 years because of U.S. involvement. And so when I look at the media, it's quite interesting, man. It's quite interesting the way it gets all processed. Like nobody's saying what needs to be said. What needs to be said is that a lot of people lost their lives on September 11th, 2001, and that the neoconservatives, led by Baby Bush and Donald Rumsfeld and Dick Cheney and Condoleezza Rice, instead of us using that tragedy to enlighten the human experience, they use it to make a lot of money and to drop bombs in foreign lands against people who had nothing to do with it. I'll say it again. Afghanistan had nothing to do with 9/11, except for the fact that there were so-called media reports suggesting that Osama bin Laden was in Afghanistan when allegedly he was masterminding all of this. I'm gonna tell you again, I don't believe a lot of this shit. Y'all can believe what you want to believe. I remember them days and times I was deep in it. I don't believe the official story. I don't believe what they say happened to the World Trade Center. I don't believe it. You can go back and Google it. It was live and direct. I watched all of it. I read everything. I talked to a lot of people who were very, very close to it. And it just didn't make a lot of sense. It didn't make a lot of sense. Afghanistan had nothing to do with it. Again, 15 of the 19 hijackers went to Saudi Arabia. They were from Saudi Arabia. But Saudi Arabia is a friend of the United States. And as a matter of fact, the ruling family in Saudi Arabia were very close personal friends of the Bushes, the Mafusis and the Bushes. Y'all know I went deep in this. I went super hard. I went where no man can ever go with it. And I've retained all of this knowledge. So now we flash forward to 2021. Biden is dealt with, a bad deck. He's got to make a decision. He makes it. And people want to forget the history. Well, I'm here to remind you of the history. Again, take care of home first. Not to say that we could ever turn our back on what's happening on an international stage, my friends. I don't believe that. It's global. Everything's global these days, right? I get it. But $2 trillion, damn, that goes a long way back here at home. Hey, good morning to you. Welcome to my home studio. Nathan Ivey with you. And as always, my pleasure to be with you. My pleasure to be with you. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, I'm in the same studio. It's my office space. Just flip the camera a little bit. Good morning to you. Hopefully I don't keep hitting the desk. There it is. I'll just take my hands and my elbows off of it, and that way you'll have a more pleasant visual experience. Good morning to you. How are you doing? That's how I feel about Afghanistan. Everybody wants to lay this on the doorstep of Biden. Like, no. We lost Afghanistan the moment we stepped into Afghanistan. The moment we stepped in with this protracted military operation, spending billions and trillions of our tax dollars. It's just amazing to me. Like I said, Americans are so strange. You have a single mother who decides that she wants to, buy a beer with her welfare proceeds or revenue or whatever you want to call it. That's an EBT. Mofos want to have long debates about how we need to have tighter controls over poor people, and we're not spending our tax dollars so you can buy licorice, and you shouldn't be able to buy it. But that's small potatoes compared to the corporate welfare that people rarely talk about. Corporate welfare is real. And that pales in comparison to the money that the military industrial complex gets. We don't say a word about it. All these 1776 Republicans running around here talking about, I'm a steward of your tax dollars. They don't have a word to say about it when our tax dollars are being spent to come up with new ways to destroy the human body. They got no problem with it. Oh, we need a new jet. Oh, a new helicopter. Oh, you got the Sidewinder missiles on it. You see that? Got no problem with it. Biological warfare, got no problem with it. But let a black single mother hit the news. Oh, she sold her food stamps. Oh, dear Lord, Armageddon. Armageddon. Oh, what are we doing? What's wrong with us? We got to revamp the welfare system. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm not with it. I'm calling bull on it. I'm calling bull on all of it. So I saw, look at this image right here. This is Saigon all over again. Come on, this has been, we've played this over and over again. Media got to get smarter and deeper in their research so that when these protracted wars come to an end, they've got people on staff who remember how it started. I remember how this shit started. It started with some dumb-ish. It started after 9/11. Donald Rumsfeld saying, we need targets. We need targets. So let's go to Afghanistan. Yeah, sure. Look how that turned out. Look at that turned out. I saw this video, man. Mofos was clinging to, apparently, people were clinging to the side of this aircraft. And when the aircraft took off, they were still clinging to the side of it. Man, these mofos was falling from the ground. I'm sure it didn't end too well. I mean, what a tragic sight right there. Tragic sight. The U.S. hands is all over it. Blood on our hands. This is why people in certain countries can't stand Americans, because of shit like this. Shit you didn't even do. I wouldn't have went to Afghanistan. If I was in charge, you probably wouldn't have did it either. I would have went after the real culprits, but when the real culprits are your friends, hint, hint, the Saudi Arabians, can't do that. Can't do that. Again, 15 of the 19 hijackers allegedly were from Saudi Arabia. But we go to Iraq, regime change. Saddam used to be our buddy. We helped put Saddam in place. By we, I mean loosely the United States. Oh, but then when it's not convenient, protract the war on terror, we got to have a boogeyman. We got to have a boogeyman. And so we had two of them. We had Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden. So they gave us something to be afraid of, and then targets that we could spend a lot of money trying to get. It's all a money grab, power and money. That's all it was. And I didn't get a goddamn thing out of it. I didn't get no check. Where's my Afghanistan check at? Did you get a check from Afghanistan? I didn't get a check from Iraq. All that oil prices through the roof. What? It's the same old game of the rich stay rich and the poor stay dumb. Poor and dumb. And I hate it. I want to get off this game. I want to play something else. So that's my Afghanistan flow. Do you agree or disagree this morning? I'd love to get your thoughts at 513-873-7134. But, on the national level currently, the Republicans are going to blame Biden because we're very, very close to the congressional midterms. And so they've got to have something. And then you got a whole new generation of people out there who just don't even remember how 9/11 started. Hell, there's people my age that just don't even remember how 9/11 started. I'm here to remind you, it started with some dumbish. It started with a controlled demolition that took down the World Trade Centers. Don't tell me shit about how, it was a build. That's not the science of it. Nobody can convince me otherwise. That was a controlled demolition. If you can find it, because they work very diligently to get this shit off YouTube. But if you can find it, just go look at it and look at the path of the debris fall line, and you'll see little explosions. I don't believe it. You can believe what you want to believe. I don't believe it. Allegedly, a plane hit the World Trade, the Pentagon. I never saw a plane. I mean, these games got played out in real life. You know what's funny, man? I grew up learning about JFK assassination, right? And I always wondered, like, how could people believe the magic bullet theory? Like, just one lone gunman with some old school bolt action rifle, sniper rifle, was able to pull off something that once the smart people and the scientists looked at it was damn just unbelievable. The bullet that killed JFK was like moving and like it was a damn UFO, just doing just the craziest thing, just defying logic and science. And people believed it. I always, as I got old enough and before 9/11 happened, I always wondered, like, how could people believe this shit? And then we had our own sort of moment with 9/11. And I'm still asking myself, how could you believe that? How could you believe that? But, you know, the powers that be do what the powers that be want to do. They do what they want to do, y'all. They do what they want to do. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. People like, oh, Biden dropped the ball. Well, I mean, the United States dropped the ball. This whole thing in Afghanistan was going to end the way it ended, no matter who was in the White House. It was going to end badly no matter what. It's going to end badly no matter what. Because it started badly. Like sometimes you start some dumb-ish and it's going to end in some dumb-ish kind of way. There's just no other way for it to end. You know what I'm saying? It's going to end badly. Let me see. Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Oh, yeah, I know. We starting out strong. Pamela writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Good morning to you, Pamela. Sharp writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Brenda writes, happy Tuesday. Now, let me give you a heads up because in about 30 minutes, we're scheduled to speak with Julie Sellers, who is the president of the CFT. And they are still very upset about the changes in busing. And what I've read is that CPS has begun working on a plan to address some of those issues. So props to CPS and the Southwest Ohio Transit Authority. I don't know. There's still a lot of dumb-ish. There's still a lot to this story that we don't know. And I don't know if we're ever going to get it all. Because the Cincinnati way is for everybody to protect themselves and keep their mouths closed. That's the Cincinnati way. The Cincinnati way is to be polite because everybody want to be friends here and relationships mean everything. It's right above where you went to high school, right? I get it. That's the way of the world. I understand it. But I don't know if we're ever going to get the true story about who really is responsible, right? For this whole fiasco. Like, really check it. Parents got better things to do than to have their emotions all thrown up in the air a week or 2 or 3 weeks before school are about to reopen. Especially with the Delta variant and so many other. I mean, if you take away the Delta variant and you take away all the other, we already got enough on our plate. We already got enough on our plate. But it is what it is. So let me give you a chance. Let me give you a sense of what's being reported here. In multiple locations. Currently, I'm on WCPO. Shout out to them for their reporting on this. So the district has made it clear it's not a fan of its new transportation plan. And, you know, when it comes to sorta, there's a lot. I'm not in any way am I trying to act like I'm an expert on this because I'm not. I'm just a poor citizen like everybody else, just a humble citizen, just a parent of CPS with 2 children in CPS who's affected by all of this, trying to make sense of it, right? But here is what I have read within the last 24 hours. So there was a big meeting a week and a half ago, and out of that meeting, there were several other working meetings put together. And CPS, along with SORTA, were supposed to come up with some plans. Looks like they did. And here's what it is. The interim superintendent, Tiane Amat, quote, this includes additional routes, more adult supervision. Quote, we have done school-by-school reviews of arrival and dismissal and adjusted the plans as needed. I mean, think about this. CPS was real big with this plan called Healthy Start, right? Healthy Start, which wasn't really a healthy start for everybody, but that just meant a later start with the schools so that kids weren't rushed all day. They had more time in the morning and things like that. Healthy start. But what's the benefit of a healthy start if you've got an unhealthy ending? So you got a healthy start, but you got turmoil when you leave school. Anyway, after looking at each high school in the district individually, the CPS administration outlined several last-minute changes to Metro service for students at a board meeting just yesterday. Anybody watch the board meeting? I did not. Some schools will see extra routes and stops along the way. There will be more adult supervision at transfer hubs and schools, and Metro will have staff members at transfer hubs to answer questions and help students find their correct route. Who are these Metro staffers? Can they be drivers? So let me get this straight. So Metro doesn't have enough drivers, but they got extra staffers to just stand on the street. That's interesting. Okay. Who are these staffers? Am I wrong in this? I mean, what they told us is that part of the reason for the change is because Metro didn't have enough drivers. So Metro doesn't have enough drivers, but it's got extra staff to stand on the street corners at the hubs. Okay. We don't need you to do this. We need you to do that. Can we make them drivers? I don't know. Metro will also have shadow buses available to handle extra capacity until a better idea of how many students will be riding the buses daily emerges. Okay. So if Metro's going to have shadow buses, doesn't that mean shadow bus fucking drivers? Okay, I'm confused now. What the hell is going on here? So Metro has told us that they don't have enough staff to be drivers, but they got enough staff to follow buses as drivers, and they've got enough staff to be, just stationed at different locations just as adult supervision. So does Metro have a staffing issue or not? Can somebody please tell me this? This doesn't make any sense to me. I must be reading this wrong. It's me. Let me read this again. Let me take it from the top. And these quotes appear to be from the interim superintendent, Tiani Amat. Quote, "We have done a school-by-school review of arrival and dismissal and adjusted the plans as needed. This includes additional routes, more adult supervision." Okay. After looking at each high school in the district individually, the CPS administration outlined several last-minute changes to Metro service for students at a board meeting on Monday. Okay. Some schools will see extra routes and stops along the way. There will be more adult supervision at transfer hubs in schools, and Metro will have staff members at transfer hubs to answer questions and help students find their correct route. Who are these Metro staffers? What is their job? Like, yo, check it. I'm just confused here. Metro will also have shadow buses available to handle extra capacity until a better idea of how many students will be riding the buses daily emerges. So this is going to be temporary, but so they do have drivers then. So you do have drivers. So maybe the idea is they do have the drivers. They just didn't want to commit the drivers long term to do the extra routes. But they've got the drivers to do shadow routes. Okay. I'm a little confused. Is there a driver shortage or not? I mean, if you got extra people to just pull them from whatever they was doing in Metro on a regular basis, and now they're going to be standing on the corners answering questions, and you got people to be shadow drivers, don't sound like much of a shortage to me, but what do I know? I'm just a dude talking ish on the internet. I'm just trying to make sense of all of this shit. I don't know. Tell me what you think. 513-873-7134. Again, the first day of classes for CPS is Thursday. Metro will also have shadow buses available These shadow buses will be driven by shadow drivers. I guess they're temps. Temp staff. That's what it is. Temp staff. Temp star. Okay, I get it. Nothing wrong with that. Make your money, people. Make your money. Make your money any way you can make your money. I'd like to just get more thoughts on it. Has anybody heard any interviews from anybody at SORTA? I don't know. I haven't really paid attention to anybody else here, but has anybody else locally talked to anybody from SORTA? I had a contact that contacted me with somebody with SORTA. Never heard anything back from the sister, which I wasn't surprised from, because that's the Cincinnati way. Run from it, run from it, run from it. Don't put yourself out there. Don't put yourself out there. Don't answer any questions. Put it out in the press release, and that's good enough for some. But when them mofos was asking for the levy, all the board members, everybody was forming trying to get into our pockets, weren't they? When they wanted money from the levy, they wouldn't shut the hell up talking about it. They was everywhere on every show, running ads, talking about it, the virtues of it. Then when there's a problem, can't get nobody on. Now, I admit I can try a little harder. I could definitely try a little harder, but I want to talk with the SORTA leadership, because I just don't understand. I don't understand none of this shit. I don't get it. I just don't get it. If they say there's a driver shortage, there's a driver shortage. I mean, I can't argue against it. But if there's a driver shortage, then who are these drivers who are going to be shadowing the buses? Aren't they drivers? They're driving the shadow bus. And who are these extra Metro staffers is going to be standing on the street corners answering questions of students during the upswing of the Delta variant? That seems like a very healthy alternative. Not. So again, because of all of that, there's going to be another big meeting today, big public demonstration today. And as I understand it, I've been told that the CFT, the Cincinnati Federation of Teachers and Parents and Community, they're going to have a rally today. They're demanding that Mayor John Cranley, the City Council, and the Hamilton County Commissioners compel SORTA appointees to restore CPS school routes. It's going to be at 4 p.m. today at City Hall. I'm going to try my best to make it there. I'll be your eyes and ears on the scene per usual. Yes, apparently the Cincinnati Federation of Teachers are very, very concerned. They're going to protest today outside of City Hall at 4 p.m. And as it goes, check this out. SORTA is governed by a 16-member volunteer citizens board of trustees. 5 trustees are appointed by the mayor of Cincinnati, and 11, are appointed by Hamilton County commissioners. The Ohio Revived Code states that the appointing authority may remove its SORTA appointees for misfeasance, nonfeasance, or malfeasance. Where the lawyers at? They can tell us the difference in those words. If the SORTA board fails to move promptly to restore the extra routes that thousands of CPS families have relied on for decades, Mayor Cranley and the Hamilton County Commissioners should remove their appointees for failing to take into account the health and safety of students, a clear example of misfeasance and nonfeasance. So the CFT and their group, concerned parents, teachers, and community members, they're going for the jugular. They're saying, look, y'all fumbled the bag on some Dennis Schroeder type shit. If you don't know the NBA reference, just go with it. It makes sense. You fumbling the bag out here. You leaving people in the lurch a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before school. Heads should roll. That's not why you were appointed. And if you can't do your job and represent the public, and at the very least, inform the people that appointed you. Now, sidebar, I saw a video about a week and a half ago. It was Alicia Reese. She was going ham. And she said something. Now, she stopped short of using the misfeasance, nonfeasance, and malfeasance words. But she essentially said, look, why will we appoint you if you ain't going to let us know what's going on? And she's absolutely right about that. She's absolutely right about that. So you got a Hamilton County commissioner saying this. You got the CFT saying this. I haven't heard anything from City Council. Now, I'm not saying he didn't say anything about it. I know Bessie Sunderman is so fond of running around here acting like she care about gun violence in the black community, and she don't give a damn whatsoever, Betsy. All you care about is trying to trick people to vote for you to get back on city council. And I hope it don't work. That's just my personal opinion. Should probably get reelected though, because Cincinnati loves a clown on council. It's just something about this. We love to have one little bozo talking dumb shit on council. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? We got to have a bozo or two. Anyway, I mean every word of it. You don't like it, so what? But where are all the public hearings about that? Where's city council on this? This is something that's relevant right here, right now, that perhaps they can have some sway on. I haven't heard any council members. Again, if I missed this, I missed it. I could have totally missed it because I ain't really watching what anybody else do. I'm only focused on what I'm doing. I could have totally missed it, but where are the emergency public town hall meetings about this? I mean, maybe city council and Hamilton County commissioners should pull back on the chain. Y'all appointed them. If they ain't doing the job and they're not representing you and at the very least informing you, then get their ass off the sorter board and get some people on the sorter board that actually will. Why is this so damn hard? Why is it so hard? We talked to one member of the one sorter board member, brave and courageous, because it seems to me like a lot of them are running around scared, trying to hide behind press releases on some weak ass shit, in my opinion. Excuse my language, but I mean every word of it. We talked to Chelsea last week, and when she came on, she was like, "I'm be real with you. I'm just finding out about a lot of this shit," and she's on the sorter board. So who is responsible on the sorter board for making a decision and then not informing people? We need to know. Bring them before the people so we can properly deal with them. So we can ask them the questions that we need to ask them. Coward ass shit. Now you want to run? Like I said, you weren't doing this when you wanted that levy pass. Y'all was everywhere. You was on every platform. Couldn't get away from you. Now, can't see you. Where you at? I think that's an excellent point that the CFT is trying to make. I don't see a problem with it. You was appointed to do a job. If you ain't doing it, your ass got to go. Period. Period. With a D and a T. Get their ass up out of here and get somebody in here. Stop being friends and since I need polite. I mean, at the very least, you can't inform people. Now, if you're a sorter board member and you're not informed, then how can you inform people? Right? I get it. But just to give you a heads up, that's happening today at 4 p.m. Outside of City Hall. Right there on, I guess it'll be right there with the Black Lives Matter mural. Yet another example of how Black lives don't matter, because the vast majority of students in CPS are BLACK, and so is their mama and daddy. And y'all fumbling the fucking bag right before school starts. Now you want to run around trying to create shadow buses. Y'all should have did this shit anyway. Y'all should have put this plan in motion 3 weeks ago. Why did the public even have to have outrage and outcry? Because CPS parents is one of the most disrespected demographic in Cincinnati. They've been disrespected so much, and CPS parents are so disorganized that the powers that be feel like they can do whatever they want to do. They've been doing it. We can do whatever we want to do too. You just have to deal with it. If you want to share your thoughts this morning and chime in, 513-873-7134. I'm not sure anybody would ever want to step on that, because that is a landmine right there. That number right there, that number, that 513-873-7134 number. Oh my God, that is a briar patch right there. That is not an easy thing to do. That is not easy. I totally get it. But I like it that way. I like it that we need more I'm brash. We need more brash black people in Cincinnati. All that weak shit. I'm brash. Speaking of which, let me say my prayers. Lord, forgive me for my brash delivery. All right, I'm cool. Hit you with that Lil Wayne. I'm in now. All right, 513-873, the pearly gates. That's what I mean. I'm in the pearly gates now. 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts this morning. Oh man, good morning to you. This shit is so much fun. No one man should have so much fun. No one man should have so much fun. Good morning to you. Brandy writes greetings. Good morning to you, Brandy. Kelly writes good morning. Good morning, Kelly. Dale writes good morning, Nate and the Choppers.
Go! Get to the chopper!
It works. Get to the choppers. CPS and sort of need to get to the choppers. But again, coming up in about 15 minutes, well, hopefully we get a chance to speak with Julie Sellers and get a sense of, what her position is. Get a sense of what her Give me 1 second here. All right, I'm good now. Sorry about that. Bunky Bionic writes, what's up, Nate and Choppers? Good morning to you, delirious Biden sexuals. What's in your jab? I'll tell you, Bunky, to this point, it appears that what's in my jab, because I got the vaccine, is protection from COVID. So to answer your question, that's what's in my jab. It's protection from COVID, bro. That's what it is, man. He is so funny. Pat writes, good morning. Tracy writes, hi. Tracy writes, hi. Well, hi, Tracy. Good morning to you. How are you doing? How are you doing today? You can say it in my fame voice. How are you doing today, Tracy? We got an early call. Let's take it. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, and good morning to the Choppers. This is Big Ant.
I'm sorry.
I will start off by saying,
this is who again, sir?
Big Ant.
Big Ant. What's up, brother?
Yes, it's not much. I want to clear some things up. I'm a Metro bus driver.
Okay.
I've been a bus driver for about 14 years. And first thing I would say is that this problem occurred at the end of last year, where we didn't have enough bus drivers to cover the school. So with then going out of last year, coming into this year, with our workforce being so low, end of last year, you would think they would have things working in the motor moving on this situation that we have now, because the workforce hasn't gotten any better. Actually, it's probably dwindled down since last year, a school year. And for them to say that they didn't know this was going to occur is totally misled. It's totally a lie. Like I say, it's going to be hectic. And I want to make sure that you understand about, you were saying, well, how are they going to have bus drivers downtown or different spots directing kids? Well, you have to also understand that at your child, Miss Young Buddha, at her school alone, we have over 30 buses. That's 30 bus stops. Plus, at the first week of school, we have about 5 or 6 different people directing kids to their correct bus. That's just at your daughter's school. Now, right on Madison Road, Brickbrook, we have another 28 buses. Then you add another 6 people the first week of school directing kids, getting on their proper bus to get home. So that's where that comes in, as far as you were saying, well, if you got drivers out there directing kids, you still don't have enough drivers for them 30 buses as well, at different schools. That's just 2 schools. I didn't say the other schools, because it's the same down the buses. So you have to take consideration that we just totally, really understaffed. And it's not the bus driver's fault. We were totally blind to this. I almost had an anxiety attack just thinking about thousands of kids at these schools trying to get on our regular route buses. Yes, they did add some routes, but it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. Also, Nathan, I've been listening to you for years, and I commend you, and I will stay listening.
All right, Big Ant, thanks for the call, brother.
No problem.
Yeah, appreciate you. Yeah, I appreciate that perspective. Like, I don't have all the information. I ain't trying to act like it. I'm just I'm just one man, one mic, one mission. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to make sense out of all of it. So I appreciate any insight that we can get, because, we're concerned parents as well. There's a lot of concerned parents. And as always, we'll make it work somehow. We'll find a way to make it work, because that's what parents do. Props to parents out there. You got to be flexible. You know what I'm saying? They your babies. You had them. You got to make sure they get to A to B and Z and whatever else you got going on. I totally understand it. And we're going to make it work. Is it going to be some struggles? Yes. But there are people whose job it is to be responsible for these kind of things. And they should be responsible for these kind of things. He says there was a driver shortage at the end of last year. I believe him. I've got no reason not to believe him. That's what he says, and that's what it is. All right. But it doesn't make the pain of it all any less. Again, coming up in about 10 minutes, I'm scheduled to get a call from Julie Sellers. She is the Cincinnati Federation of Teachers president, and they got a big public protest scheduled today outside of City Hall at 4 p.m. Yes, and again, I gave you the details on some of the updates on the plans. Looks like CPS and Metro are working together to offer shadow buses, ostensibly driven by shadow bus drivers. And they're going to be placing adults at different checkpoints around the city so that they can have some kind of adult supervision and answer questions for students. Because there's going to be a lot of confusion. A lot of confusion. We don't need this. I'll say it again. Humans worse than fucking COVID. COVID is enough of a problem. That's enough of a pain in our you know what. Now we got to deal with this. Also, CFT is pushing the Hamilton County commissioners and city council, because as I understand it, it's city council and the Hamilton County Board of Commissioners that appoint the sorter board members. And they even dug up the Ohio Revised Code. Like, yo, use this. Use this. And what they're saying is that if you got sorter board members or appointees that haven't stepped up and are doing their job, then get them off of there. Will we see that happen? I don't know. Probably not. And I say probably not because if heads were going to roll, they would have already rolled. Now, let one of these students get killed or to be seriously injured or to get kidnapped or something like that. And then when we look at the story, we can draw conclusions between what happened to the student and the change in the buses. Oh, we're knee-jerk reactionary city. We're knee-jerk reactionary central. This is knee-jerk reactionary hub, right? We are the center of the universe for all knee-jerk reactions in Cincinnati. Oh, yeah, somebody might be the fall guy. But if that doesn't happen, then shit, nobody's going to lose their job. I'm just telling you, I don't predict any of that happening because that's not the Cincinnati way. That's not the Cincinnati way. Good morning to you. 513-873-7134. Yo, check it. When you like and share the show, more people see it. It's just that simple. So hit me with a like, hit me with a share if you like this kind of content. And let the world know that there's some people out here that's got some damn sense. Let the world know some people out there that's got some damn sense. Because we are living in the last days of common sense, my friends. And again, the timing of it. Okay, great. So you knew at the end that this makes it even fucking worse. Excuse my language. Lord, forgive me for a brash delivery. Trying to be better, Lord. I'm trying to be better, Pat. I'm trying to be better. But this world, these things, these issues, they just bring the ninja out of me. It brings the ninja out of me. Anyway, so if we knew, and by we, I mean that very, very loosely, but if Metro knew at the end of last year they were going to have to make some changes, then I don't remember those stories or anything of them saying, hey, listen, guys, we want to give you a heads up. Some changes are coming. Some changes are coming. Give you a heads up. Maybe there were stories out there. I just missed them, but the timing of it all is just so disrespectful to the parents. So disrespectful. But again, what do you think? 513-873-7134 if you'd like to share your thoughts. Anthony's in the house. He writes Morning Chop Shops.
Go! Get to the chopper!
Regina writes, good morning, fam. Bunky writes, the U.S. robbed and pillaged another country and left it in shambles. Hashtag deja vu, right? Some of that old school colonialism. Some of that old school colonizerism. Look, let me get this straight. Let me say this right here, right now, so it can never always be said. The only country that could take over Afghanistan is the Wakandans. That's the only folks that could take over Afghanistan. The British, the old school British couldn't do it. The British Empire couldn't do it. The Russians at the height of their Russian power couldn't do it. And the Americans couldn't do it. The only country on earth that could take over Afghanistan if they wanted to is the Wakandans. But they're peaceful people. The Wakandans are peaceful. They don't want to use their vibranium for colonial power and colonization. They're peaceful. Those are the only folks on earth that could take over Afghanistan. Can we stop, please? Taliban 3, superpower 0. The only superpower that could take over Afghanistan is Wakanda. That's it. Okay, that's it. That's all. Leave them alone. And as I said, the Wakandans are very peaceful people. Nat writes, good morning, Choppers. Jerome writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. Good morning, everybody. Glenn writes, good morning, Nathan Choppers. You know that shit is funny as hell. You can laugh. Sarah writes, Grand Rises family. That's the only folks that could take over Afghanistan. Leave them alone. Leave the Afghanistani people alone. Can we say it together? Leave them alone. Let me show you a picture right here. These are the only people that could take over Afghanistan. Because these so-called world powers cannot do it. Ain't built for it. I'm show you an image right now. And you're going to have to agree with this when I show you this image. Hold on one second. It's coming. These are the only people that could take over Afghanistan right here. This image right here. Look at this shit, man. You go back through the history books. I showed you, I got a few books in my library that speak directly to America's desire for regime change in other countries and meddling in other people's affairs. This right here, those are the only people that could take over Afghanistan. And they don't want to take over Afghanistan. All they want to do is live their peaceful lives. Okay, yo, check it. You got it now? That's it. That's it. That's all. Casey writes, good morning, Choppers, with a Z. Sending positive, powerful vibrations to you all and have an exceptional day. Well, thank you so much, Casey. And you too. You too. Crystal writes, good morning, Ain't It Choppers. Just released from Facebook jail. Hope you're all well. What the hell? Man, they targeting choppers. They are targeting choppers. So many choppers being in Facebook jail. Why? You can say all the racist ish about black folks and this goobly gop nonsense and COVID-19. But then I know people who have said a little bit I know people who have said stuff about men, like on some relationship type stuff, and they get banned off Facebook. I'm like, what? Brenda writes, good morning. Dale writes, Nate, you need to ask W. Bush and Cheney, right? Eloise writes, good morning. Good to see you, Eloise. Bunky writes, the Biden administration dropped the ball again. They never should have pulled the troops out. Casey writes, hey, Choppers. Look, the moment, listen, no matter who was the president, no matter when the decision was made, we only had one method to extract ourselves from Afghanistan, Bunky. And that's the pullout method. That's it. We only had one method to extract American troops, money, tax dollars from Afghanistan, and that was the pullout method. That was it. And everybody knows that the pullout method is unreliable. I'll say it again. Take care of home first. We lost the war in Afghanistan the day we went to Afghanistan. The day we went to Afghanistan, the only way we were going to come out, the only method of extraction that was going to be on the table was the pullout method. That's it. And everybody knows that the pullout method is unreliable. Some of y'all got kids right now because you tried the pullout method. Oh, I got 2 children right now because of the pullout method. That shit don't work. I got 2 kids right now upstairs because of the pullout method. Gotta talk low. Medium Buddha 16 now. She know every fucking thing. You know what I'm saying? She might be, not sure where she is, but I'm gonna talk low. You can hear me. Say it with me. The pullout method is unreliable when it comes to birth control and regime change. It never works. Show me where that's worked in American history. It don't work. It always leaves chaos behind. Same thing in your personal life. That's how babies happen. Giving birth to new dictators and despots. Follow me here. I know. The superlative flows. I know. It's free. It's free. It just comes with the price of admission. You ain't got to pay for it. You can use it. Just give me a little bit of credit. Politically Podcast Show writes, of course we should have come home. Let the dumbass haters make the argument that we should have stayed there. Good luck with that, dummy. Good luck with that, dummy. Listen, I am scheduled to get a phone call from the president of CFT, Juile Sellers, and we got a call on the line. So let's see who it is. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Nathan, it's Juile Sellers. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Julie. Thank you so much for your time this morning.
Hey, thank you for highlighting this because I'm sitting here really and having anxiety about what's going to happen with our kids this week.
You hear the latest within the last 24 hours? Apparently, there have been some updates, and SORTA and CPS are trying to put shadow buses, and they're going to put adults out on the streets so they can have some adult supervision. Have you heard the latest, and what do you think about it?
Well, number one, just like you, where are all these shadow bus drivers coming from? Number two, the people who are going to be on the streets, there's going to be assigned police officers other than the SROs. I'm concerned that, especially downtown in Central District, there's going to be overt policing of our students. And what is going to be the long-term impact of this? You know, I can see them doing things of pulling our kids over for jaywalking when there aren't crossing walks.
I hope not. I hope the order is, listen, let the minor infractions go and just regulate the flow of people.
Well, we've been trying for 3 years now with Vision Zero to get additional crossing walk and signage and flashing lights to let drivers know this is a school crossing. And the city is the only group that can put that type of signage up. CPS is not allowed. It's on the street. It's not their jurisdiction. And the city refuses to because the state law does not mandate it. So when you see crossing walks and the speeding signs and the flashing lights and all of that by elementary schools, we don't have that for our high schools. Now we're going to have kids who are going to be crossing the street, and they're not even going to have crosswalks to cross the streets in a lot of areas. And they're going to have to walk off of campus to get to bus stops. And I know your daughter goes to Walnut. All I can imagine is there's 3,000 students there. Probably 2,500 take the bus of the extra routes, and they are standing room only. Somebody said, well, are the routes even filled? Yeah, they're standing room only routes. Can you imagine now all of those kids walking up to Montgomery Road or Gilbert to catch a bus of regular routes? How long are they going to have the shadow route? Just for a couple of days, or how long? There's no information out there. There's no plan. I did a public information request to SORTA yesterday to find out what did they know and when did they know it, because none of this makes sense. I know ATU sent emails to the county and city back in January, right after we passed the levy. We all worked and passed the levy. CFT gave money to the campaign for the levy and to help it pass because, campaigns cost a lot of money. We voted. We said we endorsed it. We put some money behind our endorsement, and we gave money to the levy for transit. Now, all of a sudden, they never did hire more drivers. And I know there's a shortage of drivers, but do you know why there's a shortage of drivers?
I do not.
because they pay $16 an hour and the school bus drivers pay $20 an hour. The school bus companies are giving sign-on bonuses of $1,000, $2,000. If they really needed enough drivers, they should have been out recruiting drivers, and they could have done what they needed to do to get those additional drivers. This is where the SORTA board is putting profits over children.
So you're saying they've got the money, they're just choosing not to spend it on to attract drivers.
Exactly. They have the money, and they want to cut a lot of these extra routes where the drivers overtime. They don't want to pay drivers overtime.
Huh.
So really, they're trying to see how are they going to save money. Now, they've expanded all their routes to the suburbs. Those routes have been expanded. But our children who the city voters primarily passed the levy. We passed the levy in almost every single precinct. And yet, we're the ones who are now going to be penalized for this. So they're taking the drivers that they could have used for the bus routes, and they're sending them to those 24-hour routes to the suburbs. How is that fair? Where is there equity in that?
Absolutely.
And our kids are going to have to get up. They made later start times, but now the kids are going to have to spend a longer period of time on the buses. If a friend of mine lives in Fairmount. I said, how will your kids get to West High? Which is what? Fairmount to West High. What is that? 5-minute drive?
Right.
She said if they have to take a bus downtown and transfer to the 33, and then take the 33 from downtown to West High. How long is that going to take? Over an hour. The kids who live in Winton Terrace who go to Woodward, they now have to take a regular bus and transfer. And they're not having any bus routes on school property. They're going to have to walk out to wherever the bus route is in the neighborhood. How is that fair? And I'm hearing some parents say, well, hopefully my kid will just start driving soon. That isn't the option for everyone. Just to take driver's training now, which CPS does not offer and public schools don't offer, it's $600. How many of our kids are able to pay $600 to take driver's training and then have insurance in a car and all of that on top of it? That's a privilege to be able to drive in high school. And now, how is Walnut? What if 2,000 kids now want to drive to school at Walnut? They don't have enough parking for that. I mean, it's just one scenario after another that they're not fixing the root cause. They're just going to start just putting Band-Aids on to make a bad decision try to work.
And we haven't even talked about the Delta variant and how that might be impacted in terms of the spread.
We have not talked about the Delta variant. Not at all. And that has not been brought up other than we're going to wear masks. But all of these kids, how are they going to do contact tracing and tracking when the kids are riding on a bunch of regular routes?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I know that there is a protest planned for today at 4 p.m. outside of City Hall. What's the purpose of it?
Yes.
Who's going to be involved? And I know that in the press release I read that you're asking the county and the city to maybe rethink some of the SORTA board appointees.
Correct. Because the SORTA board didn't even demand to Metro that they vote on this cut. And they let Metro and CPS make a decision. Neither board voted on it. But we're calling out Mayor Cranley because he appoints board members to SORTA. And we also are going to be calling out and questioning the county commissioners. Why aren't they talking to their appointees or thinking about how they're going to handle this mismanagement? Alicia Reese, she was the strongest person in this city to come out against these cuts. You heard her interview where she was live That was her strongest moment of standing up for CPS kids. And she knew it was wrong, but nothing has changed.
So what's
So who's really making the decisions? Last week we went to the chamber down on 4th Street because the head of the chamber, Brendan Call, he is also on the SORTA board. He's number 2. I think he calls the shots at SORTA. So obviously the chamber doesn't care about this either. I would think that the chamber should be making our city a better place and not leaving out those with the greatest needs, such as all of our high school students. Why are they not supporting our schools? Why aren't they supporting our students? The shortage of drivers now, yeah, that's a real problem. But they need to figure out how are they going to make sure they don't have a shortage of drivers. CPS, there's a shortage of teachers all over, and they've been working for 6 months to try to get enough teachers for this school year. And it's hard work, but I don't see where Metro's been doing that. And they could easily write an MOU to say, we will give this incentive if you come to drive for Metro. But if you're going to make $5 an hour less than a school bus driver, why are you going to do that?
Makes sense. Absolutely.
So the guy from Metro, the driver that was on your show a little bit earlier, he was absolutely correct. They've known for a long time that there's going to be a shortage of drivers, and they did nothing about it. You heard him say they have less drivers now than they had in May.
So how can the public, what would you need from the public to support this issue? And is it open to the public to join? Are you asking other groups to be involved? Speaking of groups, what are some of the groups that are involved with the public protest today?
Well, today it's mostly going to be teachers and parents and some community members. I hope more community members come out. If you ride the bus, I hope you come out, because this is going to have an impact on everybody, not just people with kids. If you ride the bus, your buses are going to be jam-packed with high school kids.
I'm curious, Julie, what would you, since we both acknowledge that there's a shortage with Metro drivers, what do you think, what would you like to see them do?
I would like to see them come up with a recruitment and retention plan for their drivers so that they have enough drivers. I heard that they really wanted to cut this contract and these extra routes because they were contracted routes. They didn't do this out of the goodness of their heart. CPS paid for the kids to have these passes, millions and millions of dollars. Actually, the Metro contract with CPS was almost $8 million. And so I would like to see them come up with a real plan of how are we going to get our kids to school so that they're not out in the dark going to school and coming home from school and crossing where there aren't crosswalks. This is a pedestrian safety concern. So I would like to see, and the city has full control over that. They have full control over the crossing guards, even though CPS pays for the crossing guards. Remember, the city doesn't do anything for the school district. The school district pays a contract for those crossing guards.
Okay, I understand. So again, that's today at 4 p.m. outside of City Hall.
Yes.
I would imagine right next to the Black Lives Matter mural, which I think is so ironic considering there's a lot of Black lives at stake with this issue. And
You're right.
have you got a chance to talk with any SORTA board members? And if so, what are they saying?
I have not talked to any SORTA board members. I have not. It seemed to me from watching the video of the meeting that a lot of those sorter board members looked completely confused. I did talk to a couple of sorter board members now that I think about it, and they were upset that they weren't told about it. And I said, well, are you going to speak up? I haven't heard that. And then they had a meeting last week or 2 weeks ago on a Friday afternoon, and they closed the meeting, made it virtual, and then you weren't allowed to call in. There was no hearing of the public.
Really?
Yeah, no hearing of the public.
They didn't want to hear what people had to say, basically. They didn't want to take that heat.
No. We were going to go, I was going to go to the meeting when they announced that they were going to have a sorter board meeting. I was planning to go to the meeting, but they wouldn't let anybody in. How come we haven't had public hearings about this? The city council hasn't had public hearings. The county commissioners haven't had public hearings. Sorter board hasn't had public hearings. Metro or CPS hasn't had public hearings. Metro hasn't had public hearings. Nobody's having public hearings, and nobody's answering their telephone about it.
That's right. Nobody is answering the telephone. Everybody's hiding behind press releases.
Mm-hmm. And Metro, people have called Metro, and they said as soon as they pick up the phone, they hang up on them.
Is that right? They're getting hung up on? That's a damn shame. That is it's a travesty. It is a travesty. Like I said, it's a travesty that this is so important and that people are able to hide and not deal with the real on it and be held accountable.
These little poor seventh graders, they've only ridden on yellow buses that picked them up somewhere close to their home and dropped them off somewhere close to their home, and they never left school property, ever. And now they're going to be expected to go all over the city trying to figure their routes out and transfer neighborhoods that they're totally unfamiliar with. Downtown kids don't go downtown. Seventh graders don't go downtown on the bus like we used to do when we were little.
It's a different world, though, Julie. It's a whole completely different world out there.
I wouldn't feel safe about putting my seventh grader on a city route.
No,
and there's
nor would
neighborhoods that don't have any route. There are neighborhoods that don't have any bus route. For example, Amberley Village, that is part of CPS. Those kids who live in Amberley go to CPS. There's not one metro route in all of Amberley. So tell me, how are those kids supposed to get to school?
We got a tough road ahead. So again, today at 4 p.m., big protest outside of City Hall. It's open to the public. You're inviting people who are concerned and touched by this
Please
to come down. Okay. And
please come down if you think that this isn't right. There are some people who are just attacking us on social media as if we are the problem makers and the troublemakers over this decision. But I don't know how worrying about student safety is being a troublemaker.
Right. I've heard
to me, that doesn't make sense.
I've heard that people are saying like, oh, these are just white Walnut Hill students, parents that are complaining. Is that what you mean? Something like that? Which is not true.
No, they're complaining about the teachers, that the teachers have no business complaining about this.
Really?
And that the teachers union, who do we think we are, telling SORTA how to do their job?
And
they're being very rude about it personally. But all I'm concerned about is teachers have firsthand experience of kids coming to school. Teachers have firsthand experience of losing kids who've been hit by cars. And it is a bad situation for a school when that happens. The teachers are connected with the kids and they have concerns about the kids. And I don't think that we should be called out as causing problems and not knowing what we're talking about.
Well, Julie, thank you for your time this morning. I appreciate you. I plan on
Thank
coming
you.
down unless something stops me. I'll be there just to report and maybe get some media and be a part of it. And appreciate what you're doing for our community. And let's stay connected.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I hope as many people as possible can come today because remember, teachers are back in school. They start at Monday. Kids are starting tomorrow, and there are a lot of meet and greets and extra meetings tonight getting ready for tomorrow. So I'm not sure how many teachers are really going to be able to attend because this is the first week of school, and everybody knows it's all hands on deck in the schools. Until kids can get put into, get into the groove of everything.
Hey, Julie, one last question. Somebody wants to know, would you support a transportation levy for CPS to own its own buses?
I think it's crazy that they ever got rid of their buses. We're the only district in the state, I think, that doesn't own their own buses. And now Dayton is going to contract with First Student for their elementary. I don't know. I think when you contract out services, you lose control of those services. If CPS owned their buses, this wouldn't have happened.
All right. Well, Julie, thanks so much.
We just passed the levy for transit, $100 million a year. And how much money did they get from the federal government for transportation?
Good question.
Millions. They got hundreds of millions of dollars. So they're flush with cash.
Well, Julie, again, thanks for your time. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Most def. That's Julie Sellers, everybody. She is the president of the Cincinnati Federation of Teachers. And if anybody has a connection with more sorter board members, I'm going to reach out to Brendan Cole. I think I've met him a few times. I don't know him like that. I'm going to reach out to him today. His name came up. So I'm like, oh, okay, really? He's that dude. So let's talk to him then. Let's just talk directly to the people that are making these decisions and see what's really going on. All right, let's get straight to it. We got another call coming in. Let's see who's on the line. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the good people around the world. And yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir.
Good morning to you. Good morning. What's going on, John?
It was a very good interview you had with the lady that was just on, and I can hear the passion in her voice and concern for our children. Doesn't matter, black or white, across the board, with this COVID and the terrible situation. And as we can see, as far as I'm concerned, no child, no parent should allow their child to go back to school. This virus is out of control. You got the Delta strand and you got two other strands that nobody wants to talk about. It's out of control. And we are out of control as a country and the world. So to risk your child, and I can hear the concern with the teachers, risking having children coming there with masks on, this idiot governor here in Florida. It's a couple of more words I want to call him, but I know you got some kiddies listening in, so I'll try to hold my tongue back. We got such a dummy of a governor. He's a lackey for Donald Trump. And preaching, he's trying to align himself for 24 election, but he won't get a job as a dog catcher. Nobody wants to vote for him. He's on his way out the door. And the people here in Florida are fed up with him. So we'll talk about him another day as it gets close to him trying to run. But the concern is the kids. It's a no-brainer. People can't figure this out. Mr. Nathan Ivey, my mother would tell me and my brothers and sisters when we were young, God give you the common sense to use your brains. Use it. Well, what she was saying is, if I taught you at home the right and wrong and to weed out the foolishness, use your common sense to figure it out. Well, people today are having a difficult time figuring it out, and I don't understand that. Common sense. Why would you risk your child going into the school when the COVID is out of control. You know, these young kids, they have the mask on, getting out of the car, running into school. I'll give them 5 minutes. Those masks will be flying off their face as soon as they get into that play yard and ripping and running. You're going to risk your child. And then the teachers are concerned too. They're more concerned. Why would the teachers across the country are like, why would I risk my life? And then risk the child's life. Then those kids pick up a COVID, they go home. The elderly people get it, their parents get it. It's out of control. Sometimes I wonder if this virus was man-made, and I kind of really feel it was man-made. We'll deal with that another day. But this is out of control. This is a no-brainer. With all the electronic equipment we have, satellite cable, it is no reason for a parent can sit home, get in contact with the superintendent or the teacher via email the kid's schoolwork or virtual reality, Zoom. Do the classwork off of Zoom. This is not a hard thing. So they're saying this factless government, any teacher, school districts that forces a kid to have the mask on, I'm not giving you money. You can go to hell. I heard a black teacher down here, a woman, she 30-something years, working 30-something years in the school system. She said, is he kidding me? She said, tell DeSantis, if he wants to take my money away, let him take it. But I'm coming into school and I'm teaching my class, and these kids will have their mask on. Simple as that. So DeSantis is backtracking now. He's got egg on his face because he looks stupid over the last 2 weeks trying to impose something to a school system, to force something that is out of control. Common sense. Here we go, people. Common sense. And sometimes people cannot figure it out. Unbelievable. Well, the beat goes on, and the next time we talk, we'll turn on our TVs and the media will flood us with Afghanistans and all the drugs that are going on over there. Who cares about that? I could care less. This is America's mess. They created the mess over there, be it Saddam Hussein, Iraq, Libya. The beat goes on. It's a joke. Nathan Ivey, did you see that plane on the news? Those people trying to hold on. I mean, you see how big those wheels are on the plane? That plane will crush you. And they're trying to get out of there. And America created the mess. Look in the mirror, America. You created this stuff around the world, and nobody's going to help us. We're on our own. So, the COVID is there. It'll be with us. Yeah, people, the booster shots, that's coming down the road. Get ready, because this is out of control. You got 30 to 40% of the people that don't even want to get the shots. Are they crazy? Well, so be it. That's your choice. You pick your poison, and I hope you can deal with it. Any comments, Mr. Nathan Ivey?
No comments, man. Great flows. I appreciate you, John.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. John is in and out. Dropping flows, dropping science. To steal a phrase. What do you think about what John had to say? And what do you think about Julie Sellers and what she had to say? What do you think? 513-873-7134. Somebody says, so what are you asking them to do? CFT is asking Hamilton County Commissioners and Cincinnati, the mayor, to, if you need to pull that chain on your appointees, pull that chain and get them in line. But it appears that there were sorter board members who were left out of the loop, that they were finding out secondhand and last minute. That's what it appears. So a freaking mess is what it is, basically. A freaking mess. That's what it is. A mess. And who's going to have to pay for it? Your children. You're going to have to pay for it. And we talk a lot about privilege, and, it is what it is. Hey, thank you so much, C. Smith. Appreciate the shares. Appreciate it. Those that are privileged, that they have cars for their children in high school, which is a privilege, they're not going to be that affected by this. Those that can't afford it, you're going to be hella affected by it. That's just the way it goes. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Nate.
Yes. Good morning.
How you doing? Good morning, Sandra Jones Mitchell.
Hey, Sandra.
This is interesting and somewhat sad. I recall when I worked with Hamilton County DDS, we had travel trainers from Metro to help the individuals that we serve to ride the bus. And then that ended, and then we were left with travel training some of the folks to catch the bus. And I can tell you the relationship that we had to build with the bus driver was so important in case folks got lost, right? So I just hope and pray that parents, we need to teach our kids how to survive just because we need to teach them how to get from A to B. I'm a strong believer that my son is now 41 years of age. At 6 years old, I trained him to take the bus from Evanston to Warner Hills to go to Douglas School. Would I do that today? Probably not. But at that time, I had a relationship with the bus driver and also with the school. If he didn't make it to school, they would page me on my pager. At that time, we had pagers, right? But I also, along the way, gave him safety tips on where to stop, who to ask for help from, and where to go. I travel trained my godson last year. He's 16 years old, and he was scared to death from Avondale to go to Bond Hill. He had to take 3 buses to prevent from going downtown. And so on the last leg, I pretty much just followed him in my car so he wouldn't see me. He panicked. He just went into a tizzy fit. He was just didn't want to get back on the 3rd bus, and I had to stop and park and calm him down. I said, "It's okay, I'm following you." He's like, "Yeah, but I don't see you." I said, "You won't see me because I'm travel training you to take the bus." Today, he's 18. Guess what? He could take the bus down on his own. So we can't wait until our kids get 10, 15, 16 years of age to teach them how to travel on Metro. Metro is an experience within itself. I feel for our elders. If this take place, a lot of them would not be on the bus. They cannot handle the kids, right? And the kids have little to no respect for them. So what I hear people saying is, we are afraid for our kids. But you know what? We are living in those times. We ought to be afraid. We ought to teach our kids how to survive. I used to hear parents say, "If I die tomorrow, would you make it?" There will be some kids that would do okay, and there would be some kids that just won't. I think the foster care system has pretty much set our kids up to be somewhat successful. And what I mean by that, because when you're in that system, you're gonna have to know how to survive. You're gonna have to do some things that you've never done. So I hope people come out, but also just be mindful. Teach our kids how to take the bus. You know, so many times I see kids, they be like, "My mom picking me up. She's picking you up. Where you going?" You know, it'd be like the next community. You know, teach them how to take the bus, but teach them also how to survive in case something jump off, because they all have phones now. They're not going to let too many things get past them. So I'm not afraid. I'm just nervous. I'm not afraid, but I think people need to know that we need to teach our kids how to survive, and just in case stuff like this, you know. And then I want to comment on that $8 million contract. Well, we need to get into the transportation building with CPS. That's the buzz that I'm hearing from this dilemma. And then I think that the county commissioners, whoever you point to any of these boards, I've been saying that when I worked with Hamilton County Development Disability Service. I'm like, who appoint these folks and don't hold folks accountable? They should be reporting back to us every step of the way when they use our tax dollars about everything they're doing. But we have to do our job and pay attention to what they're doing with our dollars. So I want to say thank you for the flow. I always listen. I don't always call in, but I do listen, okay?
All right. Appreciate you, Sandra. Take it easy.
I appreciate you. Bye-bye.
That's Sandra Jones Mitchell, former president of the Avondale Community Council. Checking in. I appreciate you. So let's take a quick break, shall we? Let's take a quick pause. We'll get a word from our sponsor. Today's show is brought to you by my friends over at Renew Community Church. And just think, I could be talking about your business or your event right now. If you're interested in using this platform as a part of your social media strategy, then hit me with a direct message and I will respond today. But my friends over at renewcommunitychurch.org, they created a brand new series that is designed to inspire you so you can live your best life. So check this out, and then I'll be on the other side.
The words for today are attract more money. It takes 60 seconds for the universe through the invisible law of attraction to be fully activated in your life. God's invisible law of attraction is available to you because you are just 60 seconds away from attracting more money. Take the next 60 seconds and attract more money in your life by telling the financial story for 60 seconds, 3 times a day for 21 days. Why 21 days? Because that's how long it takes to change your life. Now say this financial story out loud 3 times a day. Today, I accept my divine and human right to have more than enough money, to be a financial blessing to self, family, and others. I will use my financial abundance today to bless so many people in this universe. Money is my friend. I share my money with my friends. For a free ebook, visit renewcommunitychurch.org.
Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Butterflies in my stomach, butterflies in my chest. Heartbeat like a bird that's humming. Trust your words cause you know me best. Let's take a walk down a brick road. Click your heels and you'll be there. I want you, do you want me to? Once you hear the rhythm playing, promise you won't be complaining. I'll be here for it if it's for you. Once my body gets to swaying, promise you won't be complaining. And I'll be saying, yeah. Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Yeah. Beautiful girls are common, funny girls are real sweet. I don't say these words often, loving you has left me weak. But let's take a walk down a brick road, click your heels and we'll be there. I want you, do you want me to? Once you hear the rhythm playing, promise you won't be complaining. I'll be here for it if it's for you. Once my body gets to swaying, promise you won't be complaining. And I'll be saying, yeah, yeah. Can I dance for you? Would that be cool? Can I dance for you? Would that be cool?
All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry about that. You probably heard my conversation with the wifey there. It's all good. I'm at home, so you're going to hear a little bit of that from time to time. Good morning to you. Welcome back. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, live, local, and vocal. Welcome back. One man, one microphone, one mission. And many thanks to Juile Sellers, my guest, for chiming in this morning and sharing her insight, her perspective. Good morning to you. Let's get back to it. Hold on. There we go. Oh, I'm ready to rock now. Good morning to you. Hey, listen, lift up this show and hit us with a share this morning. I want to get right back into the conversation if you don't mind. If you don't mind, let's get right back into it. So what do you think? Are you happy with what you're hearing? It's being reported that CPS is trying to iron out some of the issues. I didn't know that. She said it's going to be 6 police officers. Those are going to be the adults. Then why isn't that in the article that I read? I'm looking at an article on Metro, and they don't say police officers. Damn it, why are we about the police doing everything? I mean, God, why does the police have to do this? They get better things to do, but I get it. If the SROs are going to be doing this, or we should make a little bit more sense. I don't know, but apparently they're going to have more adult supervision, but it doesn't say police officers. And when are these people going to realize that when a man or a woman has a police uniform on, that ain't just like no normal person. That's what Julie Seller said. I called her. She said it's going to be Cincinnati police officers. That's the adult supervision. I mean, if that's the manpower that you have, that's the manpower that you have. But people in the city act like, oh, just throw a police officer into it. Like that's just like anybody else. It's not like anybody else. Also, Metro is going to provide some shadow drivers. These are people that, if I'm reading this correctly, they're going to follow some of the bus routes, at least for the first week. I don't have a time frame on this. And they're going to shadow the route in case something goes wrong. Okay. Thought there was a shortage in drivers. Okay. So apparently Metro and CPS have worked together to add safety precautions and made adjustments to the plan to compromise for students. Speaking for myself, this is so disrespectful because of the timing of it. Had we had this conversation, let's say at the end of the school year, because really from the sort of side of things, what has really changed from the end of the school year and 3 weeks ago? 2 weeks ago, what's really changed for them? Like, by all accounts, they knew that there was going to be a bus driver shortage. And some people knew, that there were some new plans in the mix. Why not just tell people this back in, I don't know, at the end of the school year? Why couldn't we have had this conversation at the beginning of the summer, starting with a series of public hearings? Why? It would have been more respectful. It would have been more respectful. That's why. You already know he had to come in and make his appearance. Hold on, let me move this for you. What's up? What's up? Good morning to you. We got to cut your hair today, right? No. Yeah, we do. No. Yeah, no, I don't like my hair. I'm going to cut your hair this morning, as a matter of fact, when I get off the air today. I can't? Yeah, because I'm going to school. You're not going to school? Yes, I am. Nah, you're not going to school today. This is my bracelet. This grandpa gave me. No, this is my bracelet. Did grandpa give you? No, this is not the one your grandfather gave you. The one your grandfather gave you, your sister has, remember? Yeah. You want to say good morning to the people? Good morning, choppers and people. You got to talk into the microphone and don't do the baby talk. I ain't on it. Thank you, the choppers and people. You want to tell the people how I beat you in football yesterday? Dad, no, I literally had 3 points and you were at 0. What? And I won. Yeah, okay. I want to play football, Dad. Take him to the field. I don't like football. 10 minutes later. You'll get strong, though. Your daddy going to help you get big and strong. But how am I going to get super sweaty? What? Stop with the baby talk. I don't like it. How am I going to get super sweaty? I don't know what that means, man. Like, how do you get sweaty? I don't answer silly. You already know your father don't answer no silly questions. You want to ask me a question? Ask me a good question. The choppers, my daddy is trying. You cannot talk on the microphone with the baby talk. We ain't doing it. Okay. The choppers, my daddy is trying to beat me in football, but I'm gonna beat him in some. I declare war. Okay. I'm about to beat you. All right, we can play that too, man. Daddy, yesterday me and mommy had a 3-way. And okay. I won it. And you won it. Okay. And I took almost all of her cards. Okay. Life with a 6-year-old. It is what it is. Good morning to you. 5-1. He got to make his cameo every day. 513-873-7134. Terrence writes, he's dropping dimes on you, right? It's like, Jericho writes, is Buddha riding a bus? Probably. Yeah, she's going to end up riding a bus. Yeah. We ain't happy about it. But you know what? Sandra says something that's so right, and I've been meaning to do this, but, obviously I didn't. But just teaching her how to get on the bus, travel training her, get on the bus with her. We go downtown and just drive the bus. Again, I didn't know nothing else. My mother didn't have a car living in Cincinnati for a long time, so we used to take the bus everywhere. It was a natural transition for me. I was one of those kids that would catch the bus and transfer all over the city. I'll be by myself. Like I said, all through it. because my mother at some points didn't have a car. There was no other way to do it. We had to get on the bus. And then, like I said, my mother, Chairman Mom, I call her that because she was like Chairman Mao. And she has to be a dictator. When you're a single mother with a bunch of kids, you got to be a dictator. So Chairman Mom, she taught me as the oldest to be self-reliant. She wasn't on it at all. She was not on it. She wasn't doing all this shit for me. And she had little kids. I had to do everything for myself. And so that included. Can I do my show? Can I do? He ain't talking from the other room. I had to do everything by myself, son. Yeah, you privileged, little Cosby kid. He don't know. Let me see. Akeem writes, coming home from Warner Hills, we walked everywhere. Yeah, walking and catching the bus. We did everything. Jericho writes, there are crazies on the bus. I couldn't. You know, it's crazies everywhere. There are some crazy people on the bus. I can't remember. I mean, I did it all. I got in fights on the bus. You're right. All that shit gonna happen. That's just growing pains, right? It was no big deal. I didn't think anything different. If I wanted to get home, I had to get home that way. It is what it is, or find a way to walk. So, son, chill. You over there wilding out. Let me see. Bunky writes, police supervising impoverished kids who will now spend more time getting to school, which means they may not eat breakfast. Yeah, this will go well. Whatever happened to the whole healthy start plan? Remember that? They was pushing back the start times for CPS because it was a healthier time, allegedly a healthier time, depending on the kid and the school that they were going to, a healthier start time. So now we got healthy start times, but unhealthy end times. It's like a trade-off. We traded off healthy start times for unhealthy end times. Doesn't make any damn sense, damn. Terrence writes, did he say I'm about to beat your arms? Yeah. You know, you got to make them competitive, right? Everybody operates off competition. And so I'm getting his basketball skills together. So part of that is working on his lateral movement, his explosion, his cutting, juking. We're going to do that playing football. So there's a method to my madness. I'm telling you, if he decides he wants to, you're going to see it. You're going to read about him. You're going to be doing great things on the b-ball court, but he might not want to. I don't know. Akeem writes, Furious Styles, Barber Daddy Day, right? Got to do that. David writes, P&G pays employment tax to its employees, which funds a lot of stuff. We can't keep hollering about corporations when allocations of funds is the true problem. Okay. I'm with that. That makes sense. Greg writes, I am sure you remember when you had two Warner Hill students who believe there should not be SROs. Your remarks got me to recall that. Yes, we did. That was I could see their faces. Pardon me, I can see their faces, but I can't remember. It was Youth Activist Coalition. I'm not. Daddy's doing his show. You already know what it is. Yes, I was. But Daddy's doing his show. We talked about this. You got your cameo in. Don't press any buttons. I said don't press any buttons. You know, I gotta pull the daddy out on him a little bit because he'll be wilding out. I keep telling you, boy, you don't know. Y'all, but he said, yes, I do. So he wants to play with me this morning. Okay. All right, we can do that a little bit. The Davray Dumas writes, morning, I seen on Facebook that they had another fight down on the banks this weekend. Can you talk about it, please? Really? I'm not hip to the fight on the banks. The teenagers involved? Oh, dear Lord. Hopefully it wasn't black teenagers. Hopefully it wasn't. I didn't see that. Can you send me a link, DeVray? I didn't see that, man. I didn't hear that. But, you know, again, anytime you got a lot of people congregating, I don't care what the demographic is, it's subject for humans to be humans. Humans worse than COVID. Somebody's going to get disrespectful, try to cut in line, do something, like I said, disrespectful, and people are going to react. So I don't really get all super excited when I see like they had a big fight up at Kings Island. I people are gonna fight. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people gonna rumble. It's always a disrespectful mofo in the bunch. That's number one. And then sometimes these disrespectful mofos, they come in contact with somebody who plays no games. And disrespectful mofo plus a person that plays no games equals fight. And I just look at it that way. I don't get all super excited or like, oh, we got to change the rules and what's wrong with the teenagers and what's wrong with. I don't do all of that. It's just human interaction. Everywhere around the world, people get into fights and dust ups. Sometimes the knives and the pistols comes out. We don't like it, but that's the truth of the matter. And we ain't gonna never be able to stop it. Remember, Cain killed Abel. It was just the two of them on the whole planet. It was just the two of them. They had nothing to argue about. Cain killed Abel. So, I mean, that's just human nature. it was just the two of them on the whole fucking planet. I think it was a female too, somewhere. I don't remember, man. My Bible is rusty. My Bible game is real rusty. Glenn writes, I got kicked off the metro once, and my dad made me walk from North Avondale to Woodward for a week. He hung out in the parking lot of White Castles on California and Reading Road to make sure I was walking to school. He knew I would try some slick-ish. That's funny. I never got kicked off the metro. I got kicked off the bus and got into it with the bus drivers because I was one of those kids that would test you. You know, I was one of those kids that would test an adult. Like, you ain't my father? You ain't my daddy? You ain't my mama? So that was me. And there are some adults that is there for kids like me. And so I got into it with a couple of bus drivers. And then I learned my lesson. Like, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to learn my lesson. Roy writes, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Roy. Terrence writes, the fact alone could hurt the chances of the levy. CPS needs an airtight plan, or city council needs to roll their sleeves up and have a hand in the world of our children, right? You know, you got city council members that want to play politics and having all these public meetings about gun violence as if they're going to come up with some kind of new solution. We already know what else needs to be said about gun violence. Nothing. We've been having public meetings about gun violence for 2 decades. Literally. Everybody knows what the problem is, but do we have the will to focus on the root issues for an enduring amount of time? Or will we get distracted and then, you know, pull those resources to other places and things like that? We already know. What else needs to be said? Akeem writes, share your money with parents trying to get their children to school. Charlie Winburn. It's so funny, man. So now you're going to put on Charlie Winburn. Oh, my God. Callie writes, Tupac said it best, got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Right. Got money for wars, but can't feed the poor. Great. Excellent point. Excellent point. Did you hear him say? He said, oh, I want to press the button. We're going to have to put him on the payroll for real, Glenn. We leveling up with them kind of ideas. You're right about that. Yeah, I kicked off the show giving you some real straight to the point flows about Afghanistan. And that's the headline for today's show. Here's the cover art right here. We should have never been in Afghanistan in the first place. And what did John call it? Afghanigan? He's back. You are my assistant. You are. You want to be my assistant? Press this button right here when I tell you. When I tell you, not yet. You can be my assistant, son. You damn right you my assistant. I love you, boy. Let me see. Terrence writes, the two pressers don't even match up. It's crazy how this is all mixed up in the open with zero accountability. David writes, repeal the bus levy since they don't have the personnel to do what they ask, and then submit the same funding levy to create a transportation for the schools. It's really that simple. Hit that button right there. There you go. Thank you. I'll call you when I need you, assistant. Thank you so much. Run around here with underoos on. Oh my gosh. What the hell? Akeem writes, COVID, Afghanistan. Don't forget global warming. Yeah. We listen, we are living in the last days of common sense, my friend. We ain't got too much time left on this planet. We're going to F it all up. What's up, Conrad? Thanks for the link. I'll check it out. Good morning to you. Anthony, man, is prolific inside the Friends page. I appreciate you. Woman cut off in traffic, pulled from car, beaten in front of her twins. This happened in Ohio. Happened near Youngstown, Ohio. A woman is in jail after reports that she cut a woman off in traffic, dragged her from her car, and beat her with a hammer in front of her children. Then, get this, she went on Facebook and bragged about it. Jamela Chapman, 27, was booked into the jail on the charge of aggravated robbery. Now, apparently this happened at 12:50 p.m. So this is middle of the day. So it must have been either one or two things. Either she knew this woman personally and caught up with her in traffic, or it was some random road rage type stuff. Now, I traverse via an automobile the streets of Cincinnati on a daily basis. Every single day, I see people running through lights. I see people going straight through lights like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. I was on Gilbert about a month ago with my daughter. We were trying to take a left onto Gilbert. We had the light. I've taught my daughter as she gets ready to get her license that when you see green, you can't always go. You got to wait for a second because people will zoom through the light. I kid you not. I waited like 3 or 4 seconds. Two dudes, went through the light on Gilbert. They must have been doing 70 miles an hour. Straight through the light, about a 4-second delay. Had we went out into and made that turn, they would have hit me on my side, probably would have messed me all up. Had I survived, I would have dragged their ass out of their car and did whatever I wanted to do to them, because I feel like, and I mean that on everything, because I feel like you willing to play with my life, well, I'm willing to play with your life. Running through lights, I don't know what you high or listening to the little baby and them. I don't know what the hell's going on. What are you showing me? I didn't order any food. I didn't order any food, son. I mean, assistant. Let me show the people my food that you just brought me. Peas and green beans. Smashed up. Thank you, son. Yes, assistant. Oh my God, dear Lord. Dear Lord. I don't know what to do. Kamar writes, you think they have fake insurance? I don't know. I see people going through lights, cutting me off. Some woman cut me off the other day. She just gonna push her way right in. And you know what I see a lot of? I'm gonna go ahead and make this observation right here, and then I'm gonna let you go because it's almost 10 a.m. The worst drivers in Cincinnati are the people with tinted windows. I don't know. Well, I do know. I've thought about it. There is something about people with tinted windows that lends them to break traffic laws like it's nothing. And what I think it is because they think people can't see them, it's like this extra level of anonymity, and they feel like they can do whatever they want to do, and they don't have to make eye contact with people. That's my theory. That's my theory. Just Teach Rice Jr.'s board op game. It's classic. It is classic. I don't know. It's something about Cincinnati drivers with tinted windows. I'm gonna put it out there. So now that I've said it, you just drive around for the rest of the week and you tell me what you see. Mofos with tinted windows are the worst drivers because they don't have to make eye contact with you. It's something about eye contact with a driver that kind of like, I don't know, shames you or embarrasses you. It's like a checks and a balance. But when people have tinted windows, they drive in this city like they own the road. It's these damn drivers with tinted windows. These damn drivers, and the darker the tint, the more reckless they are. because they don't have to make eye contact with anybody. They're just driving around like in their own little world. TNT writes, my sister has tinted window and drives like a bat out of hell, LOL. It's something about it, TNT. I'm going to put this on the table and revisit it maybe in about a week. And you tell me if I'm wrong about this. These damn tinted windows. Sister Iris writes, making his assistant t-shirt today. Ask him what color he wants. Son, come in for a second. Assistant, come in for a second. I'm going to play along. So you're my assistant now, right? Somebody wants to know what color t-shirt. They're going to make you a t-shirt. What color t-shirt do you want? No baby talk because I ain't on it.
Blue and red.
Blue and red. Okay, there it is. So he wants blue and red, Sister Iris. So okay, I get you. TNT writes, she can't drive my kids anywhere. Rachel writes, most of my family have tinted windows and we are the best drivers. We don't want our cars damaged by the idiots you are referring to. Rachel, there are exceptions to every rule, but yet the rule still stands. In Cincinnati, the worst drivers are those with tinted windows. I used to think it was women. A woman with tinted windows? Oh, my dear Lord. Oh, my gosh. I know I'm being sexist, but that's how I really feel. And you don't want me to lie, do you? No. So you'll check it. Listen, thank you so much for being here this morning. I really appreciate you. I see we're at 10 a.m. this morning. I'm going to let you get back to the rest of your day. Please like and in particular share today's show. You never know who we're talking with. I've got guests lined up every single day that hopefully you can get something out of. It's the Nathan Ivey Show, where nothing is funnier than the truth. Men are expected to be men, and sucker MCs get dealt with. Have an excellent rest of your day, family, and we'll talk real soon. Remember our motto: winners focus on winning, and losers focus on winners. So stay focused and stay winning, and we'll talk real soon. Until next time, I'm out.
Yeah. Talking to my mirror like I love you so much. Curving on my critics like I heard you, so what? You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. Tally all the I ever gave on my head. Lately I've been living like I can't take a loss. They ain't wanna help me, that's what made me a boss. You can't kill my confidence, I think I'm the man. We don't give a that's what they don't understand.
I'm back again like flu season. I broke records while loose leafing. I'm coming down my roof, leaving. Don't give a I don't care. Did the by my lonesome. No wonder now I'm on one. No shortcuts on that long run. All I really want is my share. Get on my God, on my totem is nothing. In the discussion, for them feelings I throw all my pain on percussion. It's disgusting. I hear them bragging about that they did, and it do not move me, not in the least. They ain't been dropping no seeds in the soil, but swear that you all my spot at the feast. I've been on go mode, showboat, rowboat, wave ride. Cool shorty, too naughty, pool party, wet for the face ride. Annie up, penny down, hand me down, thrift store, old drip. New money, too funny, old shorty, talking about old. I'm on they now, can't get a pass now. I'm a cash cow, keeping it brash now. It's trash now, I'm a spaz out. I've been killing my lows and living on highs. You see in the skies the proof. You could just see in my eyes that there is no lies. I cannot disguise the truth. I've been duck dog, getting in my new merch, color duck sauce on the new couch with my chucks on. Get the